I used to be extremely undisciplined. I would procrastinate until the last minute to get anything done. I spent hours on my phone, laying down, in bed, on the couch, watching TV. And because of that, I didn't get a lot done. I didn't have the best grades. I didn't have big projects that I was working towards. In the gym, with my money, or in most other areas of my life.
I was very ashamed of my life story for a long time.
And then one day, it switched. And with just 3 crucial changes in my life, I've been able to become one of the most disciplined people that I know. And the thing is that the changes are so simple, things that anyone can do, but they completely changed the trajectory of my life. Probably 25xing, if not more, the accomplishments that I've made and shaped me into the person I am today.
Once you change one thing, your mindset, you can attack everything.
Discipline is not motivation. Some people think that in order to have success, they have to channel deep levels of motivation towards what they do. The truth is, it doesn't work like this. Motivation comes and goes. You can't expect it to be the same every day, especially as you try committing to something for a long period of time. In Atomic Habits, and I'm sure a whole host of other studies, James Clear says that if you want to find big results, you can't rely on motivation alone. You have to channel that into discipline and habits, which I will attempt to break down today in these 3 things ahead. And starting us off with number 1 is having a growth mindset and knowing that you can grow and change and improve, and also understanding that every change starts with one step. So the first part of that is understanding that you are not static and that every part of you can be improving. Improving is tough because it first involves accepting that you are deficient. When we build our personalities up around something, it can be tough to realize a weakness or even just a room for improvement, but it takes being open to change to bring change on. Then it takes staying on something for long enough to see the change transpire, to see the true power of putting your effort and discipline towards something. Most people in today's era stay in a short-term gratification mode for most areas of their life. They are so rewarded by the short-term dopamine hits around them that they never get out of that mode to see how good the long-term results of discipline and hard work towards something can feel. Getting off the couch to go to the gym for an hour a day for a week is hard, especially when you aren't used to doing that. And especially hard when you don't see the results for the first few days. But when you start to see the results and fall in love with them, this is where you can channel and grow your love for discipline. By cutting out short-term pleasures in your life and focusing on the results of the long-term ones. By staying with them for long enough to see them transpire in your life, you can begin to see why discipline is just so valuable. Before you've seen those results, it's so easy to just say, what's the point? I hate waking up to go to the gym early, and I like cuddling up in my bed, so why would I do that? Without knowing the results that are possible, it's a pretty convincing argument. Many people also believe the fallacy of thinking that they personally are not capable of the results. When they see fit people in the gym, they may not even see a possible road for us to get there. By changing the thought process in the brain, and just by taking those first steps to get those first results, you can break that false narrative. That's where it all starts, with the first action. You can talk about change all you want, but any change in your life does not start until you take the first action to get there. It all starts with one step. If you are an undisciplined person, all it takes is believing that you are capable of being disciplined and taking that first step to get there when that decision comes up.
No one wants to get up at 4 and run when it's pitch dark. The only reason I do it so early is because the other guy isn't doing it. It gives me a little edge.
Now, this brings us to number 2, which is real world experience. All my friends growing up from my childhood, each one of them lived with different levels of discipline and expectations from their parents. And I can see a direct correlation from my friends that had a lot of responsibilities, tasks, chores growing up to their level of discipline today. One of my friends who grew up on a farm, helping his family out there for often hours and hours a day, is one of the hardest working people and most disciplined people I know. Having those habits ingrained from such a young age makes them stick with you for a lifetime. Now, that's not to say I think that's the perfect way to parent, as you definitely lose parts of your childhood the more you put away to work. But that does mean if you didn't grow up with discipline around you, you have to actively work to create it. The world around us won't give us hard times naturally anymore. We don't have to forage for food. We don't have to physically outrun dangers or lead our tribe. So it's up to us to create them and challenge ourselves. So we have to be conscious about it. Ask yourself the question, how can I push myself out of my comfort zone? And remind yourself that facing challenge is good and beneficial. Something that really makes this all click for me is one of my favorite quotes from Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. This book is one of the most famous philosophical works and is the journal that Marcus Aurelius kept while Emperor of Rome. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for, the things that I was brought into this world to do? Or is this what I was created for? To huddle under the blankets and stay warm? So you were born to feel nice instead of doing the things and experiencing them. Don't you see the plants, the birds, the ants and spiders and bees going about their individual tasks, putting the world in order as best they can, and you're not willing to do your job as a human being? Why aren't you running to do what your nature demands? You don't love yourself enough, or you'd love your nature too, and what it demands of you. One of the big ways I was able to challenge and push myself to build the best discipline of all time was making the decision to join a commercial fishing boat in Alaska. After being introduced to the idea via a friend, I was able to find a captain who was looking for a deckhand on his boat and sign up to join for a summer. Now, commercial fishing in Alaska is a very hard job. You're working long hours, exposure living on a boat, often sleeping just a few hours a night, and working for 16 to 18 hours in extreme manual labor conditions, often with a lot of dangers and perils, including storms, jellyfish falling down in your face, and sometimes not catching many fish at all. It's an occupation that pays really well, but it wasn't the money that got me motivated to go there, although it did help. It was the opportunity to gain a whole level of discipline into my life that I knew would pay dividends moving forward. I knew all too well how hard the experience would be, but I had a long-term enough vision to know that the benefits that would come out of the other side. If you want to know more about commercial fishing, I did a full video on it right here where you can learn and see if it's something for you, although you can find and channel discipline through a whole host of things, not just commercial fishing. When you're in the middle of a boat in the ocean in Alaska, in the middle of a fishing set with a captain counting on you and the rest of the team relying on you, quitting isn't an option. You have to keep going, no matter how hard the conditions get. I was pushing through this for 2 months, but when I came back to the lower 48, when I didn't have to face those conditions, I could take that same energy and that same motivation and channel that towards my passions. I could wake up early without my alarm clock. My energy towards my passions was boundless, and I had an aura radiating off of me. And that was just from 2 months of hunkering down and learning the power of discipline and actually putting myself through it. Your body and mind learn more and best from experience than anything else. Now, you don't have to go to Alaska to build discipline, but I do encourage you to find opportunities around you to push yourself out of your comfort zone to the extreme and to the maximum. And know that the more you do it and the further you push yourself, the better the results will be in the form of discipline, motivation, and the ability to get things done. After this experience, I rarely procrastinate. I accomplished way more, and my mindset has completely shifted. So to summarize, so far we have: number one, create a growth mindset and understand that you have to take a step to start any progress. And number two, understand that real world experience is the driver for any growth in your life. Now, as important as pushing yourself and building real experience is, your willpower bucket can only take so much, even if you continue to train it like you should. And as important as cultivating a growth mindset is and taking the first few steps, all of this is nothing without the power of routines and systems. Without routines and systems, you're relying on yourself to come in with the same force and energy at all times and build back from scratch every day. You can think of discipline like a muscle, just like your physical muscles can become strained or overworked, and they also grow stronger with consistent training. Your willpower and discipline too can reach their breaking point. And also, just like your muscles grow stronger with time in the gym, your discipline grows stronger with consistent training. The problem is, if you try to lift too much every single day without a break, you'll burn out. That's where routines and systems come in. They're like the scaffolding that holds everything up, allowing you to keep moving forward without relying on just brute force alone. A good metaphor for this is driving a car with autopilot or assisted driving. When you're on autopilot, you don't have to constantly think about when to accelerate, when to brake, or how to navigate each turn. The system takes care of those decisions for you. In the same way, systems allow you to move through your day with less friction. You're not spending mental energy deciding what to work on next or when to take a break. The structure is already in place, freeing up that energy for actually getting things done. My systems allow me to always know what I have to get done, know where my energy is most efficiently spent, and know how to see the results the quickest. A big concept nowadays, used across disciplines from the gym to the world of entrepreneurship, is speed running, figuring out the quickest way possible, and growth hacking to see the results as quickly as possible. Consider this. Imagine you are trying to get in shape at the gym and you're going for an hour a day, putting in all your energy into it, but your form is all wrong and not spent on high impact exercises. Fast forward a month and your results aren't anywhere what you expect. That's extremely unmotivating and tells your mind, hey, all that discipline was really for nothing at all. Look where it got me. The systems are those guides showing you the right exercises and forms to use. Maybe even that personal trainer using his expertise to show you the best way to reach your goals. So that way, when that month passes and you look in the mirror, you can see all those results that discipline got you and the power that it can hold. My systems that I have are simple. On the general level, I use Apple Notes and jot down my to-do list at the end and beginning of every day. And at the beginning of the day, I mentally walk through the list and picture myself doing each one of the tasks, a practice shown to increase my ability to complete the task as well as my likelihood of getting to it. As the day goes on, I can use tools such as the Pomodoro method to break up my work into manageable chunks, as well as having workstations and organization that I've set up to manage my productivity. I'll have a monthly plan that I'm following to make sure that I'm striving towards my big goals at work, as well as a yearly plan and a 10-year plan, and as well as my personal goals too. At the gym, I'll have a workout plan to follow, as well as my nutrition. I'll have an end goal, as well as milestones throughout. These systems serve to guide me, to keep me dialed in, to keep me knowing where I'm going, to make the best use of my time. And most of all, with these systems, I can see the most results possible for the amount of discipline and effort that are used up. Now, you don't have to use the same exact systems as me, but it is a great idea to make sure that you do have systems in place that remind you of the big things that you need to get done. Make sure those things are as easy as possible to do, help you keep track of your accomplishments, and keep your long and short-term goals in your vision at all times. Action without planning and systems is really no help at all. Now, to conclude this year, the best thing about discipline is it compounds over time. Things don't get harder, they get easier. As you do something time and time again, day after day, it just becomes the default. You don't think twice. If you brush your teeth, it's probably something that you started doing at a young age, where at this point, you don't even think twice about doing anymore. If you love the gym, it could have been something that you do in the mornings after work without having to give it a second thought. With any habit, the first part is easy, the middle is messy, in those weeks in between, and then after 66 days on average, a habit is formed. And once you're used to putting out a level of effort, it becomes the default. You can stack more on top. You can add more and more things on top. As the nature of life for us goal achievers is to keep pushing the goalpost further and further back as we reach for bigger and bigger heights. Just fall in love with the process rather than the results, and it all starts with one step. Subscribe for more.